and welcome to the Survivor to Thriver show with your transformation guru, Samia Bano. Are you overcoming big challenges in your life? Do you want to transform the world? Is fear holding you back from taking the bold action you need to create massive positive change? If so, keep listening and transform that fear into freedom. Hey, welcome back to the Survivor to Thriver show. Last episode, we started talking about the gift of fear. And I was reflecting with you on the idea that our fear actually has some great gifts to offer us. Meaning, if we are willing to face our fears, if we are willing to even embrace our fears, then we get some great gifts as a result. Today, I want to continue to talk about the gift of fear, but today I want to reflect about the gift, on the idea of the gift of fear from a different perspective. And that is a perspective that, hey, actually our fear is a great gift in and of itself. It is a great gift that is offered to us by the power of our imaginations, our capacity to imagine the worst case scenarios. Because think about it, isn't that the essence of our experience of fear? That we're imagining the worst case scenarios. Isn't that what actually generates the fear? That we are imagining the worst case scenarios. Absolutely, it does. Now, why do I say that this ability to imagine the worst case scenarios and the fact that we actually do it, why is that such a great gift? It's a great gift because if you can imagine the worst case scenario, then you also have the opportunity to prepare yourself to either prevent the worst case scenario from happening in the first place, or if you cannot prevent it from happening, then at the very least to give yourself the best fighting chance to survive, to effectively overcome, to break through or even transform that worst case scenario into a great opportunity for growth, for learning. Hey, even if you just survive through that worst case scenario because you got a heads up thanks to your fear, thanks to your imagination of the worst case scenario about it, and you're just able to even survive through it, isn't that amazing? Isn't that an amazing gift? Absolutely. Imagine if our engineers, if our architects, our designers, if they didn't anticipate the problems, that can occur. For example, this is a huge issue. For example, when there are earthquakes in a country like America, of course we suffer a certain amount of damage. But the same kind of earthquake, like the same kind of intensity, the same kind of strength, happens in a third world country, and there's maybe 10 times or 100 times more damage than what we suffer here in a country like America. Why? Because here we have developed the technologies and the systems, and we have put them in place. So even in the ways that we create our buildings, the way we build our buildings, they're designed, they anticipate the problems that occur when an earthquake hits, and the plans incorporate in them solutions to either prevent those problems from occurring or to minimize the impact of those problems. So we have fewer buildings that will collapse. We have fewer lives lost, and so on and so forth. But in parts of the world where these technologies, these systems are not as yet in place, there's way more damage, way more loss of life. So the fact that we can imagine the worst case scenarios, that we can imagine problems, anticipate problems and challenges that can come up, is a great gift. Now, fear. What does fear have to do with this? I mean, couldn't we just imagine things and not experience fear? Yeah, absolutely. We can imagine things and not experience fear, or not experience very strong fear. But the reason the fear is a great gift, and when we experience it, and the big difference that it makes, is that if you're just imagining things without experiencing the fear, you're not going to be able to, not that you're not going to be able to, you're just not going to experience any kind of motivation to actually act. See, the way we act is caused by the way we feel. And so our feelings actually motivate our actions, right? So when you feel fear, it motivates action. If you're not feeling fear, you're not going to feel motivated to act. Now, there are other feelings that can motivate you to act as well, right? Like the feeling of peace will motivate you to act in very peaceful ways. The feeling of happiness and joy will motivate you to act in ways that produce more happiness and joy. But in the context of our imagining worst case scenarios, right, you want to be motivated to take the action that is necessary to prevent or minimize the damage that can be caused by the worst case scenario, don't you? Right? Because it's like, okay, like, let's say otherwise you imagine the damage that an earthquake can do, but if you don't feel fear about it. So you don't do anything about it. So then the earthquake comes and you're in trouble. So that's the great gift of the fear, right? Because when you imagine the damage the earthquake can do, and you feel afraid, that actually motivates you to act, to do whatever it is necessary to make sure that you're prepared to deal with the damage, the worst case scenario that can occur in an earthquake. So, our fear is a great gift. And I want you to really appreciate the gift of your fear. Like, really think about all the times in your life when you have honored your fear. And because you honored your fear, good things happened in your life. Maybe you were able to survive through some really difficult situation, or prevent some big problem from occurring in the first place. And even as you begin to shift your relationship with your fear and truly appreciate the gift that it is, I want you to remember that it is just one of the many gifts that are present in our lives. Even if you're thinking about the gifts that our imagination has to offer, remember that fear is just one of the gifts. Not only can our imagination allow us to imagine the worst case scenarios, our imagination also allows us to consider, to imagine the best case scenarios, right? And when you consider the best case scenarios, that is what generates hope and optimism. And just like fear, hope and optimism are extremely powerful motivators of our action. And just imagine what your life would be like if you didn't honor the gifts of hope and optimism in your life. You'd be pretty miserable. If you only focused on the gift of fear, you would find yourself living very, very small. And certainly, there wouldn't be a whole lot of inner peace and happiness and joy in your life, right? Because again, those feelings are incompatible with fear. You can either feel great happiness and contentment and peace in a moment, or you can feel great fear. So let's not go overboard. Let's not become imbalanced in our lives. Yes, I want you to appreciate and honor the gift of your fear, and at the same time honor and appreciate the other gifts that are present in our life. And most people actually, the reason they're really struggling in their life is because they don't have the right balance between honoring these different gifts. And they're not really sure how to create that balance. So that is a challenge that we will address in the next episode. And in the meanwhile, if this is something you find yourself struggling with, please reach out for help and support. And you know that I'm one person you can reach out to. In fact, I'm going to give you a very cool opportunity to reach out to me. If you're struggling with any kind of fear and you want to be able to break through it now, break through it sooner rather than later. And the opportunity that I'm opening up and offering to you is to get on one of my Ruthless Compassion mentoring calls with me. Normally, only my current clients are able to get on my Ruthless Compassion mentoring calls. And basically what we do on the calls is as many people as possible, they're group calls, but as many people as possible, I give the opportunity to get on the hot seat. Once you get on the hot seat, you tell me whatever fear you're struggling with or whatever challenge you're struggling with. And right there and then, I work with you in order to help you break through that fear, break through that challenge. And I'm telling you, we use such powerful processes, such powerful exercises to help you with that breakthrough process that in most cases, within just a few minutes, people are able to achieve that breakthrough that they desire. In some cases, people who have been struggling with a particular fear or challenge for years, they're able to process through it in minutes and break through it, and the impact of that breakthrough, permanent. It lasts. So if this is something you think you'd want to take advantage with, go to my website, academyofthriving.com, click on the Contact Us page, and let me know that you want the opportunity to get on one of my Ruthless Compassion mentoring calls. Now, I don't know for how long I'm going to keep this opportunity available because this is just something I'm doing on a trial basis. Normally, my clients are actually investing $1,000 a month with me in order to get on this program with the Ruthless Compassion Mentoring. So I don't know for how long I can just open up access to it to everyone, right? Like in the general public, people who have not invested into into the program. So if this is something you're interested in taking advantage of, make sure you connect with me quickly, as soon as possible. And once you do and you let me know that you're interested in this opportunity, then I'll get back to you and let you know when the next call is coming up that has some openings in it. So we'll go from there. Now, in the meanwhile, stay tuned for the next episodes because we have more great content, great learning to engage in together. And until next time, I wish you lots of peace and joy.